Good morning to you. Mark Suttle with HurricaneTrack.com here. It is now Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. Obviously, I'm in a hotel room. I'm in Wichita, Kansas. Going to be going out later today with colleague Greg Nordstrom from Mississippi State University, instructor of meteorology for that program. And we're going to be looking for big hail. We'll talk about that at the end of today's update. But first, as the yellow headline there says, it's almost time. You know, the hurricane season is upon us. It's already started in the eastern Pacific. We don't have any activity out there just yet. And the Atlantic basin, of course, is up next. And with water temperatures running so much above normal, everything's primed as far as that goes. We're going to have to really start paying attention to any potential areas of development, use the tools that we have at our disposal to see when that window might come along. And so that'll be a little bit about what we talk about today. All right? So let's drop me out of the frame for just a little bit anyway. National Hurricane Center homepage, all is quiet in the Atlantic basin, and the same is generally true in the Pacific. Nothing outlined right here anywhere in either the Atlantic, and we might as well just take a look at the Central Pacific. Nice and quiet for my friend Dr. Ryan Miras and his new bride that are on their honeymoon out there. Maybe he'll hear this when he gets back. He better not be looking at anything weather-related or engineering or coastal-related. Just enjoy the time with your new wife, buddy. Saw him on my plane ride out here to the Midwest yesterday. A small world. Anyway, so the weather pattern, nice and quiet. There's a couple of areas of convection, showers and thunderstorms in the eastern Pacific, but nothing that looks to be organizing. A little mass of thunderstorms way down here in the extreme southern Caribbean, just off the coast of Colombia, north of Costa Rica and the Panama area, but again, nothing organizing. We are going to watch for some potential energy to try to gather in this area, maybe bringing some heavy rainfall to portions of the greater Antilles. I'll show you that on the GFS in just a little bit, but by and large, everything is nice and quiet. Upper level winds are just too strong. You can even see those upper level winds on this satellite imagery. I don't know why this is red. It makes it too menacing, but we'll fix that for next time. But there's your upper level winds. You can just see the high cirrus clouds. Everything's moving southwest to northeast. By the way, speaking of southwesterly flow, when you get that over this part of the country and low level flow coming in from the south and southeast, you have the ingredients, at least part of them, for big time severe weather. And again, that's why I'm out here. We'll address that though in just a little bit. Looking at the vorticity signature, I really like this map from the University of Wisconsin. A couple of concentrated areas down here, but nothing that's coming together that it certainly doesn't have the attention of the Hurricane Center by way of any kind of an outlook. You can bet they're watching it, but again, as I showed you, nothing of concern for development there. In our deep tropical areas through here, nice and quiet, no areas of vorticity. And that vorticity comes in the form, usually what we're looking for are these tropical waves, and you can see them coming along. That'll happen especially as we get later into the season, and you can see that energy trying to bundle up and really focus, and that gives us sort of that fingerprint of what we're looking for when we're trying to identify a potential tropical cyclone to develop, the generic term for depressions, storms, and hurricanes, tropical cyclones. So this pattern, not conducive for anything like that. Look at all this energy up here, extending southwest near the Bahamas, past Bermuda, and out into the open Atlantic. This is all your mid-latitude energy and very high-latitude energy up here. Nothing just yet concentrating down in the tropics, but we're getting there. It's getting close to June, and things are going to start to change once we get into the month. And I'll show you what I mean by that as we progress. Another part of what I was talking about already here is the ingredients. We know this. Look at the very, very warm sea surface temperatures relative to average. That is still very much there, if not digging in, so to speak. Our developing attempt at La Nina with the cold anomalies now coming in across the equatorial Pacific. I think just the fact that we have lost the El Nino out here, that the clock is ticking. Now the atmosphere will slowly respond, and we will begin to drop the wind shear across this area, especially in the coming weeks and months, and then probably even on out into the deep tropical Atlantic, setting up a very favorable pattern with lower than normal sea level pressure through here, lower than normal overall trade winds, more convergence, that's air coming together at the surface, and a very favorable pattern for numerous hurricanes to develop between now and probably the end of the calendar year, not just the end of November. This type of pattern is probably going to hold on for many, many months and, going probably into December. Zooming in on it just a little bit, very warm now anomalies and real world temperatures. I'll show you that in a minute. In the Gulf of Mexico, especially down here in the Bay of Campeche, but look also off the coast of South America through our Nino regions, this area of cold anomalies showing up here, starting to spread out across the equatorial Pacific, juxtaposed or contrasted to this very warm signature all through here. It is setting up the stage. We've been talking about it, and I know you might be tired of it, but you got to understand this is the base for what could lead to, and we're anticipating a very, very active season. So you've got to do something with that information. Again, just a real quick refresher. Just find out, first of all, am I in an area that will ever be required to evacuate? Most of the time, a vast majority of the time, that's going to be because of storm surge. You can look that up on your smartphone, when you're scrolling around looking for the next viral video. Spend a few minutes looking for your county government emergency management agency on your favorite social media app of choice. Most of them have a public information officer. They put information out. Find them, at them, how you tag people, and just ask them, hey, I just moved here, or I've lived here a couple of years. I've never really known this. Am I in an evacuation zone? It's up to you. You have a responsibility here too, all right? We're giving you this information. Myself and others in this business, the social science of this is telling us we have to do something now that we see this, the meteorological side, the oceanographic side. The warnings are there. It's up to us to do something about it, all right? So looking at the actual temperatures, as I was saying, very warm here, right in the Bay of Campeche area, 29 and 30, even 31 Celsius showing up. Anything gets going down here, it's going to have ample heat to work with. The rest of the Gulf of Mexico generally warming up at a fairly steady pace now. A few areas here where it's not quite 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 Celsius, but by the time we get to the weekend, I bet things will pretty much be warmed up, especially along the shelf water areas. So those of you going out for Memorial Day plans, should be pretty nice out there. Notice too, once again, very, very warm water down here in South Florida, in the shallow, murky, darker water areas of the mangrove forest, etc. Shallow water heats up very quickly. It also can be cooled off very quickly. But look here, in south of Cuba, not far away from the Cayman Islands, water temperature is very warm, 30 Celsius, even the 31 isotherm right there. And again, the Cayman Islands don't show up on this particular scale, but down there, Adam, water temperatures are warm in your area, aren't they? I hope to go down there in July. I'll talk about that at a different time when we discuss more plans for the upcoming season. That's the Gulf. This is the Mid-Atlantic and East Coast. Still very cold in reality and relative to average. There's your temperature gradient right through here. All those isotherms, lines of equal temperature, crammed up against each other, because this is all nice and warm, and this is still very cold. And if we go back to the anomalies map, it's actually quite a bit colder than average up here. Look at all these deep blues, but they are really butting right up against the strong positive anomalies. So just an interesting contrast up there off the Mid-Atlantic states. Your Memorial Day weekend, if you're headed to the coast, anywhere from even the Outer Banks here in points north and east, forget about it, as they say. At least that's my attempt at some Northeast humor. Nope, a little too cold for my liking. Maybe you like it, I don't. That's just me. But you can still catch some good rays from the sun, I guess. But yeah, water temperatures, they're getting there by the time we get to the next big holiday, 4th of July. Hopefully things will improve and the beach will be a lot more comfortable water temperature-wise. All right, windows of opportunity and people that we like to look for and check in upon, whatever, and see what they're saying. And I think that's one of the big positives of social media. It's got a certain dark side, we know that, but there's also a lot of great information from people that know what they're looking for, and that collective knowledge pool helps me, and in turn I can help you, and I can point you in the direction, you can follow these people just like I do. So this is Todd. It used to be down at the National Hurricane Center. So Todd knows exactly, well, mostly what he's talking about. Nobody knows exactly what they're talking about, right? But Todd's a trusted source. So what's Todd saying? Well, within the last day or so, this is the post. The ECMWF, that's the Euro, the weekly models, consistently, and that is very important. You choose your words wisely, that's the word. Choose your words wisely when presenting this kind of information, and that's a key right there. The weeklies consistently show a well-defined, that's another clue, so it's not ill-defined or weak, Madden-Julian oscillation, that's MJO, moving into the Atlantic Basin. When? During the second, third week of June. So ding, 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 that's the June bell. We know that this area through here is climatologically favored. We'll look at this map in a bigger mode in just a minute. We'll expand it. But that's the clues that we're looking for. Second to third week of June, and then anomalous cyclonic flow near the Yucatan could portend tropical cyclone development, and no surprise, above normal rainfall over the region, including Florida, gets pretty wet in this time frame. So the Euro is picking up on it in a lot of different methods here. First, the progression, the green is favorability in the upper part of the atmosphere. That's the MJO. This is the present. This is the future. And these are your geographic regions where that green or favorability traverses across this Hofmolar diagram. And then we look at the flow, and you get that anomalous turning here, this gyre setting everything up, sort of focusing the energy. The trades get slowed down. You reverse that wind flow as the MJO comes in, and it makes things very favorable up here. And I just showed you. All right, again, these are part of the clues. Very warm water temperatures in here, way warmer than they should be. So we have to watch this very carefully. And then finally the Euro with its precip anomalies, painting a pretty wet pattern. As the arrival of the MJO commences, we should see an uptick in deep convection. Something might try to get going in the East Pac, but more than likely something's going to try to brew up somewhere here in the Western Caribbean, the vicinity of the Yucatan, and we need to watch that for all kinds of hazards, not just wind and storm surge and, oh, if it's a hurricane, I'll pay attention. If it's not, who cares? You have to think about the totality of what we're talking about. And rainfall, excessive rainfall, that's what this is showing, anomalous rain in those different greens and the darker greens, right? So we got to be watching for this. This is our first real set of clues from a reliable set of guidance, the ECMWF. So we'll start watching this in the days to come, and as we get to June, we'll see what happens. And as it gets closer into time, maybe the deterministic models and more of the ensemble runs start to show stuff, and we can hone in and make sure people have ample time to be ready. We got to use this science to our advantage. We really do. All right. So speaking of operational models or deterministic models, here is the GFS from the 6Z run. The realm, the area we're looking at, this is the East Pac over here. These are our areas of energy that I was telling you about. This is the model version of it. So those are the vorticity areas. Scrolling this out over the next 5 days. One area tries to concentrate right there. You can clearly see that right through here. But it doesn't do much, and it just kind of fizzles out. Conditions just not very favorable, and there we are out to about day 5. All right, now let's switch over to the Atlantic Basin, and let's again watch this area through here, because this is generally where we would be watching this time of year. Sometimes you get development up here out of the deep tropics, so we don't ignore that, but I am most interested in this area right through here in the first part of June, ending May and into June. So let's see. So here's the next 5 days, and it's interesting because there is a piece of energy that tries to coalesce to some degree through here. This is what I was alluding to earlier. So our friends in Hispaniola and Haiti might have some inclement weather, and of course that usually means very heavy rainfall, especially over these mountainous areas. So we need to be watching that closely. Even a disturbance can create a lot of flooding, and then that system fairly loosely organized up here north of the Antilles, and then it finally kind of shears out and moves on into the Atlantic. Now, just for this particular update, we're going to go all the way out to 384 hours because I want to show you something and how all of this links up. This is very, very interesting. There's a difference in showing a 384-hour graphic that has a Category 4 hurricane parked off of Miami, so that a lot of people share the video and go, did you see that? I'm showing you something because I think it's very interesting as an educational tool, and no, it doesn't show a Category 4 hurricane parked off of anywhere. Allow me to explain. Let's go back to this tweet here, the post from Todd, and let's look at this. This is that Euro weekly mean anomalies that he was talking about, and how we get that anomalous flow through here. So this is on the ECMWF weeklies. Well, the deterministic GFS is picking that up. This is 5,000 feet in the atmosphere, the 850 millibar level. Scroll all the way out. As we move through time, notice the trades through here are nice and steady, generally east to west, just careening through the Caribbean out of the deep tropical Atlantic. But as we get towards the end of the forecast cycle, the model is sensing that change with the Madden-Julian oscillation coming in. Look, there it is. There's the turning right there. And it's focusing down here on Central America. Sometimes the GFS does this and it's just a known bias, but I just find it curious. This is hour 360 that is picking up on it at the same time frame that the Euro is suggesting that we have an anomalous flow pattern down here as well. The two kind of match up. This is the deterministic run. This, of course, from Todd's tweet related to what the Euro weeklies are showing. So I just find that to be pretty interesting. Obviously, this is the end of the run, 384. We don't know how the story ends, but there are a set of clues here. Climatology, this is where we'd expect to look. The pattern that's already there with those warm sea surface temperatures. Now the modeling with the weeklies from the Euro and this one particular run of a deterministic model. Yeah, I think we could say reasonably we need to be paying attention to this, and we should anyway because it's going to be hurricane season. All right, so I'll be on top of it. We'll see what happens. We got plenty of time, and that is the whole point. We get the gift here of time, even days, as opposed to where I am in Tornado Alley, which is a good segue into this. If my let's see if we can get this to cooperate with me again, please. Oh, I know what I got to do. I forgot about that. There we go. Now I got it back. Sometimes the old Telestrator just goes wonky on me. Anyway, good way to segue into this portion of the update, the severe weather side. Severe weather, sometimes you only have hours to be ready. So at least hurricanes give us days. That was my point. So I'm out here. We got the moderate risk today. Greg and I were after the big hail. Hail is a very expensive and aggravating part of severe weather that does not get as much of attention as the tornadoes do. Maybe rightfully so. I understand. So I thought I'll take it on as a responsibility over the next several years to start studying hail, observe it, study it, measure it, talk about it. We got a podcast about it called the Hail Podcast, the Hail Project Podcast. 2 episodes already. We'll get some more in the can. Busy man here. But we're going to be out here. Greg and I, over the next several days, this is our area of concern. The hail threat. Boy, you see that? What is that, like magenta or something? Bright purple. And in the red area, wow. Pretty high probabilities of some nasty hail. We are over in the Wichita area, roughly in here, right? This Telestrator, it's my mouse too. Anyway, we're going to try to drive up right into that, get ahead of it, and put out a bunch of camera systems, GoPros, where we can measure and study the hail photogrammetry-wise, slow it down using 240 frames per second frame rates. We have the calipers that we're going to be measuring the hail with off the ground, special collection boxes where it hits these padded flood bags, actually from QuickDam, that help like pillows so that the hail hits and it stays intact. And as soon as it's safe to get out, we want to measure this, photograph it, and then relay that information to our friends at IBHS, the National Weather Service, you name it. And just, again, shed more light on what's going on with hail. I think it's an important aspect of severe weather. We will be live later today, hopefully on YouTube. I got to talk to our back-end team, make sure that somebody's available to crank that up for us from the vehicle cam. And, of course, we'll be live on the HurricaneTrack Insider site because that's where everything originates anyway, and you can follow along. What are we expecting? This is the latest run of the high-resolution rapid refresh model. Again, we are currently down here in the Wichita area, and we're going to be making our way up into this area. The HUR suggests that late afternoon, things really get going. This is 1 p.m. Central, Let's just do that. That's 2 p.m., 3, 4, 5, 6, and beyond. Yep. You can see, I probably should refresh this. That's why it's stuck at hour 10. So we'll try that again. So there is 1 p.m. Central Time. This is just a good starting point. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, we should try to get in front of these line segments here. Some of these are going to have some big hail in them, and they're going to be moving fast. Excuse me. So we got to get going and get out there and try to document something. And then it's all over. And we head back down and get ready for tomorrow, which, by the way, just to show you, is also going to be very active south and east and west of where we are today. But anyway, an active pattern over the next few days. We'll be out here trying to capture the hail. One more thing before I let you go. First, thanks to everybody that ordered. I think it was like 48 orders for maps came in. The single largest response that I've ever had when I've been offering these. They've all shipped, so you should get them in the next couple of days. And I look forward to seeing pictures like that of you. Tag me on social, right? Let me know. Show me your map set up somewhere. I'd love to see that. And if you want to get one for yourself, we still have 40-something left, something like that. They're $20 plus $3 shipping and handling, whatever that means. And I do send them folded. The tubes just didn't work out. They always get crushed or whatever. So the folded maps work best. Go to that link right there, HurricaneTrack.com/track map. I'll put a link in the description today. And you can get one. You can send it to somebody as a gift, order 1 or 2 for yourself, whatever. And you support not only our project, but also the art and science of tracking on a paper map. It's an old school way to do it. So again, huge thank you to everybody that ordered one. It's my map. I drew it a long time ago. I've told this story before. So you're literally supporting a piece of artwork in geography and hurricane tracking from yours truly. All right, well, that's it. Let me get this online for you and then get Greg up, and let's get ready to rock and roll and go capture some hail. From all of us at the Hurricane Track team, we appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff that social media people say. I'll say it too. And also a big thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you watching. I'm Mark Suttle from Wichita. I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning, probably from somewhere near Oklahoma City.